The reasons why some Jews and Christians do not acknowledge Muhammad vary and can be quite complex. It's important to note that views on religious figures and beliefs are deeply personal and can differ widely among individuals and religious groups. Here are some general reasons. Divergent beliefs. Jews and Christians have different beliefs about the nature of prophethood and the fulfillment of prophecies. For example, while Muslims believe that Muhammad is the final prophet, Jews and Christians may not share this belief and may have different interpretations of prophethood and the fulfillment of divine messages. Theological differences. There are theological differences between Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, including variations in beliefs about the nature of God, the concept of the Trinity, the status of Jesus, and the authenticity of specific religious texts. Historical context. Historical conflicts and geopolitical factors have contributed to tensions between different religious groups over the centuries. These conflicts have sometimes influenced perceptions of religious figures. Interpretation of scriptures. Differences in the interpretation of religious scriptures and teachings play a significant role in how Muhammad is viewed by different religious communities. It's important to approach these complex and sensitive topics with respect and openness to understanding differing perspectives. These are broad generalizations, and individuals within each faith group may hold a wide range of beliefs and interpretations. Chapter 1, Introduction. Understanding the resistance to acknowledging Muhammad. The resistance to acknowledging Muhammad as a prophet is a complex issue that stems from a variety of factors. For many Jews and Christians, there are deep-seated differences in religious beliefs and interpretations that prevent them from accepting Muhammad as a prophet. These differences have historical roots and have led to conflicts and tensions between the three faiths for centuries. Cultural biases and stereotypes also play a role in the resistance to acknowledging Muhammad. Misconceptions and misinformation about Islam and its teachings have led to fear and distrust among some individuals. Additionally, the lack of understanding or knowledge about Islam and its teachings can contribute to negative attitudes towards Muhammad. Fear of change or challenges to one's own beliefs is another factor that can prevent people from acknowledging Muhammad as a prophet. Political factors may also influence attitudes towards Muhammad, as leaders may use religious beliefs to manipulate public opinion. Personal prejudices or biases towards Islam and Muslims can also impact one's willingness to acknowledge Muhammad. Religious leaders or authorities may influence followers' beliefs, further perpetuating negative attitudes towards Muhammad. Overall, the resistance to acknowledging Muhammad is a multifaceted issue that is influenced by a combination of historical, cultural, political, and personal factors. By understanding these factors, we can begin to address the barriers that prevent individuals from accepting Muhammad as a prophet and foster greater understanding and acceptance among people of different faiths. Chapter 2, Why the Jews and Christians Refuse to Acknowledge Muhammad. Differences in religious beliefs and interpretations. Differences in religious beliefs and interpretations play a significant role in the resistance to acknowledging Muhammad among Jews and Christians. Throughout history, the three faiths have held varying beliefs and interpretations about key religious figures and teachings. For example, Christians view Jesus as the Son of God and the Savior of humanity, while Jews do not recognize Jesus as the Messiah. Similarly, Muslims believe that Muhammad is the final prophet and the last messenger of God, a belief that is not shared by Jews and Christians. Historical conflicts and tensions between the three faiths have also contributed to the reluctance to acknowledge Muhammad. The long-standing animosity and disputes between Muslims, Jews, and Christians have created deep-seated mistrust and prejudice towards each other's religious beliefs and practices. Cultural biases and stereotypes further perpetuate these tensions, making it difficult for individuals to accept teachings that contradict their own beliefs. Lack of understanding or knowledge about Islam and its teachings is another barrier to acknowledging Muhammad. Many individuals may have limited exposure to Islam and rely on biased or inaccurate information to form their opinions. Fear of change or challenges to one's own beliefs can also prevent individuals from being open to accepting new ideas or perspectives, including those related to Muhammad. Political factors can also influence attitudes towards Muhammad, as leaders may use religion to manipulate and control their followers. Misconceptions or misinformation about Muhammad and his teachings can further fuel negative perceptions and prejudices towards Islam and Muslims. Personal biases and prejudices towards Islam and Muslims, as well as the influence of religious leaders or authorities on followers' beliefs, can also impact individuals' willingness to acknowledge Muhammad. In conclusion, the resistance to acknowledging Muhammad among Jews and Christians is complex and multifaceted, stemming from differences in religious beliefs and interpretations, historical conflicts and tensions, cultural biases and stereotypes, lack of understanding or knowledge about Islam, fear of change, political factors, misconceptions, personal prejudices, and influence from religious leaders. It is important for individuals to critically examine their beliefs and attitudes towards Muhammad and strive for greater understanding and acceptance of diverse religious perspectives. Historical conflicts and tensions between the three faiths. Historical conflicts and tensions between the three faiths have played a significant role in shaping the resistance to acknowledging Muhammad as a prophet among Jews and Christians. The deep-rooted animosities and rivalries between these three Abrahamic religions have created barriers to understanding and acceptance. Throughout history, there have been numerous conflicts and wars fought in the name of religion, with each faith claiming to be the one true path to God. The Crusades, for example, were a series of religious wars fought between Christians and Muslims over control of the Holy Land. These conflicts have left a legacy of mistrust and suspicion between the followers of these faiths. Differences in religious beliefs and interpretations have also contributed to the resistance to acknowledging Muhammad. Jews and Christians have their own distinct theological doctrines and interpretations of Scripture, which may conflict with the teachings of Islam. This has led to a lack of understanding and acceptance of the Islamic faith and its prophet. Cultural biases and stereotypes have further fueled the resistance to acknowledging Muhammad. Negative portrayals of Islam in the media and popular culture have perpetuated misconceptions and stereotypes about the religion and its followers. This has created a climate of fear and mistrust, making it difficult for Jews and Christians to open their hearts and minds to the message of Muhammad. Lack of understanding or knowledge about Islam and its teachings has also played a role in the resistance to acknowledging Muhammad. Many Jews and Christians may be unfamiliar with the basic tenets of Islam and its prophet, leading to misconceptions and misinformation about the faith. Education and interfaith dialogue are key to breaking down these barriers and fostering greater understanding and acceptance between the three faiths. In conclusion, the historical conflicts and tensions between Jews, Christians, and Muslims have created barriers to acknowledging Muhammad as a prophet. By addressing these issues and promoting education, dialogue, and understanding, we can work towards breaking down these barriers and building bridges of peace and reconciliation between the followers of these three great faiths. Chapter 3: Cultural Biases and Stereotypes. Lack of understanding or knowledge about Islam and its teachings. Lack of understanding or knowledge about Islam and its teachings is a major factor contributing to the resistance towards acknowledging Muhammad as a prophet by some individuals, especially among the Jewish and Christian communities. This lack of understanding often stems from misconceptions, misinformation, and cultural biases that have been perpetuated over time. Many people have only been exposed to negative portrayals of Islam and Muslims in the media, leading to a skewed perception of the religion and its teachings. This limited exposure can result in ignorance about the true essence of Islam, which emphasizes peace, compassion, and social justice. Furthermore, differences in religious beliefs and interpretations can also contribute to the lack of acceptance of Muhammad as a prophet. Some individuals may struggle to reconcile their own beliefs with the teachings of Islam, leading to a reluctance to acknowledge Muhammad's role as a messenger of God. Historical conflicts and tensions between the three faiths, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, have also played a significant role in shaping attitudes towards Muhammad. Deep-rooted animosities and prejudices can cloud one's judgment and prevent them from objectively considering the teachings of Islam. It is important for individuals to educate themselves about Islam and its teachings in order to overcome these barriers to acknowledging Muhammad. By seeking out accurate information and engaging in meaningful dialogue with members of the Muslim community, misconceptions can be dispelled and a greater understanding and appreciation for Islam can be cultivated. Ultimately, it is essential to approach the topic with an open mind and a willingness to learn in order to break down barriers and foster mutual respect and understanding among people of different faiths. Fear of change or challenges to one's own beliefs. Fear of change or challenges to one's own beliefs is a common reason why some individuals, particularly those from the Jewish and Christian faiths, refuse to acknowledge Muhammad as a prophet. The idea of accepting a new belief system or incorporating new teachings into one's existing beliefs can be intimidating and unsettling. It requires individuals to confront their own preconceived notions and challenge deeply held beliefs, which can be a daunting task for many. Differences in religious beliefs and interpretations also play a significant role in the resistance to acknowledging Muhammad. The divergent views on key theological concepts such as the nature of God, the role of prophets, and the afterlife can create barriers to understanding and acceptance. Historical conflicts and tensions between the three faiths have further exacerbated these differences, fueling mistrust and animosity towards each other. Cultural biases and stereotypes can also contribute to the reluctance to acknowledge Muhammad. Negative portrayals of Islam and Muslims in the media and popular culture can perpetuate misconceptions and reinforce existing biases. Lack of understanding or knowledge about Islam and its teachings can further alienate individuals from engaging with the message of Muhammad. Political factors can also influence attitudes towards Muhammad, as geopolitical tensions and power dynamics can shape perceptions of religious figures and beliefs. Misconceptions or misinformation about Muhammad and his teachings can lead to misinterpretations and misrepresentations, further fueling resistance. Ultimately, the fear of change, challenges to one's beliefs, and a range of external factors can all contribute to the reluctance to acknowledge Muhammad as a prophet. Overcoming these barriers requires open-mindedness, critical thinking, and a willingness to engage with different perspectives and beliefs. Chapter 4: Political Factors Influencing Attitudes Towards Muhammad. Misconceptions or misinformation about Muhammad and his teachings. Misconceptions or misinformation about Muhammad and his teachings have been prevalent throughout history, often fueled by ignorance, fear, and prejudice. One common misconception is that Muhammad was a violent and warlike figure, when in reality he preached a message of peace, compassion, and social justice. The Quran, the holy book of Islam, emphasizes mercy, forgiveness, and the importance of treating others with kindness and respect. Another misconception is that Muhammad promoted the subjugation of women, when in fact he advocated for the rights and dignity of women in a society that often marginalized them. Muhammad's teachings on gender equality and the importance of women's education and empowerment were revolutionary for their time. Some people believe that Muhammad was a false prophet or a fraud, but Muslims view him as the final messenger of God, sent to guide humanity towards righteousness and moral uprightness. His teachings on monotheism, charity, and social responsibility have inspired millions of people around the world to live more ethical and compassionate lives. It is important for individuals of all faiths and backgrounds to critically examine the sources of their information about Muhammad and Islam, and to question any biases or stereotypes that may influence their perceptions. By seeking out accurate and unbiased information, we can break down the barriers that prevent us from acknowledging the contributions of Muhammad to world civilization and understanding the true teachings of Islam. Personal prejudices or biases towards Islam and Muslims. Personal prejudices or biases towards Islam and Muslims can be a significant factor in the resistance to acknowledging Muhammad as a prophet. These prejudices may stem from a variety of sources, including cultural biases, stereotypes, and lack of understanding about Islam and its teachings. Some individuals may hold negative views towards Islam and Muslims due to misinformation or misconceptions about the religion. This can lead to fear of change or challenges to one's own beliefs, as well as a reluctance to engage with new ideas or perspectives. Historical conflicts and tensions between the three faiths of Islam, Judaism, and Christianity have also played a role in shaping attitudes towards Muhammad. These conflicts may have created deep-seated biases that are difficult to overcome. Furthermore, the influence of religious leaders or authorities on followers' beliefs can contribute to personal prejudices or biases towards Islam and Muslims. If religious leaders promote negative stereotypes or misinformation about Islam, their followers may be more likely to hold prejudiced views. Political factors can also influence attitudes towards Muhammad, as political leaders may use religion as a tool to manipulate public opinion and maintain power. This can further perpetuate stereotypes and biases towards Islam and Muslims. Ultimately, overcoming personal prejudices and biases towards Islam and Muslims requires open-mindedness, willingness to engage with different perspectives, and a commitment to learning about and understanding the beliefs and practices of others. By challenging our own biases and seeking out accurate information about Islam and its teachings, we can work towards breaking down barriers and promoting greater understanding and acceptance among different faith communities. Chapter 5: Influence of religious leaders or authorities on followers' beliefs. Perceived threats to the status quo or traditional beliefs and practices. Perceived threats to the status quo or traditional beliefs and practices can play a significant role in the resistance to acknowledging Muhammad as a prophet, particularly among followers of Judaism and Christianity. The idea of accepting a new religious figure, especially one who challenges long-held beliefs and practices, can be unsettling for many individuals. For some, the differences in religious beliefs and interpretations between Islam and other faiths create a barrier to accepting Muhammad as a prophet. The historical conflicts and tensions between the three faiths have also contributed to deep-seated animosities that make it difficult for some to consider the validity of Muhammad's teachings. Cultural biases and stereotypes, as well as a lack of understanding or knowledge about Islam and its teachings, can further perpetuate resistance to acknowledging Muhammad. Fear of change or challenges to one's own beliefs, along with political factors influencing attitudes towards Muhammad, can also play a role in shaping individuals' perspectives. Misconceptions or misinformation about Muhammad and his teachings, as well as personal prejudices or biases towards Islam and Muslims, can further hinder acceptance of his prophethood. The influence of religious leaders or authorities on followers' beliefs can also contribute to the resistance to acknowledging Muhammad. Overall, perceived threats to the status quo or traditional beliefs and practices are powerful forces that can prevent individuals from opening their minds to new ideas and perspectives. It is important for individuals to critically examine their beliefs and consider the possibility of embracing new truths, even if they challenge deeply held convictions. Chapter 6: Conclusion. Breaking barriers, moving towards understanding and acceptance of Muhammad. In a world filled with religious diversity and historical conflicts, the figure of Muhammad often stands at the center of tension and resistance. Why do some individuals, particularly those of Jewish and Christian faiths, refuse to acknowledge Muhammad as a prophet? What are the underlying factors that contribute to this resistance? One of the main reasons for this resistance lies in the differences in religious beliefs and interpretations. The teachings of Muhammad may conflict with the doctrines and traditions of Judaism and Christianity, leading to a reluctance to accept him as a prophet. Historical conflicts and tensions between the three faiths have also played a significant role in shaping attitudes towards Muhammad. Centuries of warfare and animosity have created deep-seated prejudices and biases that are difficult to overcome. Cultural biases and stereotypes further compound the issue, as negative portrayals of Islam and Muslims in the media and popular culture contribute to a lack of understanding and knowledge about Islam and its teachings. Fear of change or challenges to one's own beliefs can also prevent individuals from accepting Muhammad as a prophet. Political factors, such as the influence of religious leaders or authorities, can further shape attitudes towards Muhammad and Islam. Misconceptions or misinformation about Muhammad and his teachings can further fuel resistance, as can personal prejudices or biases towards Islam and Muslims. Perceived threats to the status quo or traditional beliefs and practices can also play a role in hindering acceptance of Muhammad. In order to break down these barriers and move towards understanding and acceptance of Muhammad, it is essential for individuals to engage in open dialogue, educate themselves about Islam, and challenge their own preconceived notions and biases. By fostering a spirit of tolerance and respect, we can work towards building a more inclusive and harmonious society.